Oilers off to Buffalo for the Orange and Blue, looking for another victory on this season-high 7-game road trip. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show as we get you set for the Oilers and the Sabres. Tom Gazzola, Ben Thomson with you inside the EST HQ, Global HQ. I almost said satellite studios. That would be incorrect because Matt Kassian will be joining us from his satellite studios in a couple of minutes' time. We'll also be joined by Joe DiBiase from WGR 550 in Buffalo. He'll give us the scoop on the Sabres. Yes, not a particularly strong team and one that the Oilers need to beat. Of course, you could join the conversation. Text us 780-218-9999. Jump into the nasty chat. I see a bunch of you are in there already. Appreciate that very, very much. Of course, GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Shout out to Scott and Tyson and the crew at Iron 5 for fixing my car. She was pricey. I just picked it up about 40 minutes ago. Nice to have it. Good to have things fixed on it, but saw that invoice. It sucks. Anyway, let's talk about the Oilers and the Sabres as the Oil look for another victory coming off that win Saturday against the Carolina Hurricanes. Cass is going to get the link. He's going to be good to go. Benny, you're good to jump on already, or do you need to do some stuff behind the technical desk? All right, let's welcome in Ben Thomson as the Oilers and Sabres get set to tango. First of two meetings of this season. Jay Milne, who will be back at 5 o'clock to wrap up the Reed Wilkins show with Jay Milne, asked me if this is going to be a trap game for the Oilers. Can't let it be.
No, it's been the talk around town.
I get it.
It could be a trap
it's understandable.
Game. But to me, I feel like this team is, in a way, has turned a corner. Like I don't think if they've been, it hasn't been
leery
pretty
of that.
It has been pretty the past 4 games, but I am more confident that they can win a game like this today. Like they are the favorites going into tonight, right?
As they should be,
and they should. But you can't take the Buffalo Sabres lightly, right? And they have some studs, man. They have some studs. They have some guys that can really play. It's a new goalie for well, not a new goalie, but I believe it's 4th NHL start tonight.
Yes, Colton Ellis.
So take advantage of that. You know, it's a young guy that hasn't played a whole lot. Take advantage of that. Get your scoring touch in today, and hopefully we're talking about a win after in a couple hours.
All right. Do you have a question of the night?
Who will show the better side of the trade today? Ryan McLeod or Matt Savoy?
Oh.
Yep. A trade that went down a couple of years ago. I see on Twitter a lot that like Buffalo Sabres fans they're trying to prove to you that like, oh, you know, this trade was a huge win for Buffalo. And I've been saying this for a while. Like the trade, you won't see who the real winner of the trade is until not for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Because McLeod has succeeded in Buffalo. Good for him. But Savoy is just getting going. And he's a young guy. He's got a lot of game ahead of him. So I would slow the brakes on who's won that trade so far. So that's what I'm gonna throw the question to today is who will perform better in the out of that trade today? Is it Ryan McLeod? Will it be first liner Matt Savoy?
Yeah, you can hop on that spike bet. Jay's play of the day. Jay's doing 2 plays of the day.
Yeah.
On Play Alberta. I'm not sure. Like, Benny, I think it's going to, like you said, take some time.
Yeah.
McLeod, 9 points so far this season. And you've got Savoy kind of cranking it up a little bit lately. Nice to see. He's got 5 points in 20 games so far. Let us know your thoughts. We'll read those as we proceed throughout the show. Let's get to some lineup notes for you. Here's what we're expecting from the Oilers tonight. McDavid between Savoy and Hyman. Draisaitl centering Podkolzin and Roslovic. Henrique between Mangiapane and Frederick. Noah Philp with Matthias Janmark and Curtis Lazar. On defense for the Oil, Matthias Ekholm with Evan Bouchard. Darnell Nurse with Jake Wellman. Brett Kulak with Alec Regula. As for the Sabres, Tage Thompson with Josh Doan and Alex Tuck. Ryan McLeod, who we were just talking about, with Isaac Rosen and Jack Quinn on his flanks. Tyson Kozak between Jordan Greenway and Peyton Krebs. Noah Ostland with Josh Dunn and Beck Mallenstein. On defense, Matthias Samuelsson with Rasmus Dahlin. Owen Power paired up with Jacob Bryson. Bowen Byram with Connor Timmins. That takes us to your starting netminders. For this one, for the Oilers, it will be Stu Skinner, 27 years of age, 7-4 record with 3 overtime losses, 277 GAA, 891 save percentage, 1 shutout in 14 games played. Lifetime versus the Sabres, Skinner 3-3-1 with a 258 goals against average, 912 save percentage in 7 appearances against the Buffalo Sabres. And then at the other end of the rink, if you're like, is it Alex Lyon? No. Is it Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen? No. It is Colton Ellis, the 25-year-old, 2-1 so far this season, 336 goals against average, 895 save percentage in those 3 NHL games he has played. He will face Edmonton for the first time in his career. Of course, that takes us to the Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy Injury Report. Connor McDavid's got a team of specialists. You've got a bag of frozen peas. Get the same locker room approach trusted by the best in the game at Advantage Sport Medicine. Book your assessment today at www.advantagesportmed.ca or call 780-460-9977. I could use a little work on my neck right now. It has been bothering me all day. Okay, actual injuries that matter for the Oilers. Kasperi Kapanen, LTIR, knee. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, IR, upper body. As for the Buffalo Sabres, they're a bit more nicked up. Michael Kesselring is on IR. Josh Norris on IR, upper body. Jason Zucker, he is also on IR. You got Zach Benson, lower body on IR, and Yuri Kulich, actually, I should say. He is on IR. Ear injury, it says. So there you go. That is your Advanced Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy Injury Report for the Oilers and the Sabres. Let's bring in our game analyst, Matt Kassian, who's ready to rock and or roll. Good day, Cass. How are you? Did you watch the Grey Cup?
I did. I was cheering for both teams to lose, but
yes.
But the Riders somehow managed to win. You know what? It was hard for me because I was pulled between the two. I probably was like, I want Montreal to win more because I just can't stand the Riders. And Riders fans drive me nuts in a good way. And I mean that in the best way possible. I love how passionate they are. And I love being able to rib them and they fire right back and it's great. So it's awesome. But I was also happy for Trevor Harris. I mean, and that's kind of like that was the war within me is like, I really want to be able to stick it to Riders fans.
Right.
Like, and just be like, you guys lost. Not that we have anything to stand on as an Elks fan right now, but
it's coming around.
It's coming around. I wanted to also be able to, on the other side of it, just be happy for Trevor Harris. I know him a little bit from when he was here in Edmonton and is a great guy and just happy to see him win one as a starter. So yeah, it was fun. It was good. It was a good time.
Yeah. Did you like MGK at halftime? Machine Gun Kelly? You okay with that?
I thought it was pretty good. Like I don't really know much of his music, or any of his music. The kids heard that one Lonely Road song, like Country Roads cover-ish thing where they rewrite it
yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah, and they so the girls ran in and it's like they knew that one, and so they ran up and were whatever. I guess my wife has been listening to it. Not me. But I thought it was fine. Like he seems pretty talented, like kind of able to move between genres a little bit. Like he's not stuck in just doing one sort of thing. So I thought it was good. It wasn't like, I still think my favorite Grey Cup one may have been Shania Twain, but call me old school. And I was back. Was that one in Edmonton? Was that one back in
Edmonton's the controversial one because she lip synced in that one in 2002.
Okay, so not that one. It was the other one.
The one in Ottawa where they had like the snowmobiles jumping and doing.
Okay, it might have been that one then. I was trying to remember there was one that was pretty sweet. And anyways, I don't know. It was good.
Yeah. That one she was pulled on a sleigh with dogs, I think.
Huh.
Or was that maybe they had a snowmobile pulling her on a cart, something like that. But yes, that one was actually really good. Totally redeemed herself after the 0-2 in Edmonton Grey Cup. That was a tough night for Eskimos fans that night. Ricky Ray and the Esks lost to the Montreal Alouettes on home turf. Yes, Grey Cup was good. I agree with Cass. It's fun to chastise Riders fans, and it's too bad that the Alouettes couldn't beat the Riders. Came down to a very close play at the end. Well, the fumble was brutal. But and then actually that Hail Mary at the end, they tried. It was there. They tried. So exciting. That CFL always providing the excitement. So good to see. All right, let's shift the focus back to on the ice in Buffalo with our game analyst, Matt Kassian, as he brings us game changers, as always, brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting, consistent top producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 18 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out on DamonBunting.com or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Cass, number one, flexing at home.
Yeah, the Buffalo Sabres are they're all over the place this year. Really struggled at the start of the year, then played and started to heat up and play a little bit better, and then they've started to struggle again recently in the last 10, going 2-4-4. But most of their struggles have been on the road. They're above 500 at home, 5-3-2 with the record there. So and now, is that because Buffalo is just a better team at home, or is it because Buffalo is so depressing that the teams that come into play are just like sad when they walk in the doors of the building and they just don't play nearly as well? We'll never know for sure, because either could be clearly plausible. But Buffalo is it's not a team you want to take lightly.
Right.
For as much as they've struggled, I feel like every year I pick them at the start of the year to be like, hey, this is the year they're going to make a push. This is the year they're going to make a push, because they have so many good pieces there. They just can't or don't seem to fit all together. You know, from guys like Tage Thomson up front, who can score goals and is a great player, to just an almost stacked defense. Like you look at their defensive core. They're really good. Now, I know Dahlin, he's had some personal things going on with his fiance. His step back and been a boost to them since he has come back. But like, I look at their defensive roster, I'm like, they have a solid group. They have an extremely solid group. Like when you have Dahlin, Byram, and Power, like those are three guys there where you're like, all right, like this should be a pretty good defensive group. And they are at times, but at times they just seem to struggle for whatever reason. And up front, not a group that it can seem to find traction from scoring goals. And again, individual players that have seemed to play well at times, but at times they just kind of fall apart. For the Edmonton Oilers, you're heading into the Buffalo's den here, as it were. Not that they have dens, but if they did, you're heading into it, and they're kind of hitting that. It's that last ditch effort time for Buffalo,
right?
Where, they're close to bottom of the league, but they're still, only 2 games under 500. So it's not like they're so far away and so far out of this thing that if they don't string a couple wins together, they'll get back in it. But it's getting closer and closer there. Don't want to be a team that's last place heading into the Thanksgiving time frame, as we talk about all the time. A little challenging or very challenging for teams to move out of that basement come that time of Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving in November. But guys, they're going to play hard at home here. Like it's hitting that desperation time for them. They are better at home generally than they play on the road. And for Edmonton, not a game where you want to sleep. You come out with a big win on the weekend, you get some reinforcements, you play a pretty solid game, and the consistency for the Oilers hasn't been there, and I don't want them sleeping heading into this one against Buffalo, because Buffalo does play lots better at home.
Edmonton has not played well at Buffalo recently in the last few years either. A lot of 3-2s on there, and most of them L's for the Orange and Blue. Benny, did you want to add anything to that one, or are we moving on to number 2 here?
No, we can move on to number 2. I thought.
Okay, we'll get you in on this one. Yep. Number 2, this guy. Welcome back, Zach Hyman. Hyman's hits. Man, oh man.
Yeah.
Cass, 11 hits the other night against Carolina, and right away, too.
Right away. Just jumps right into it. I love that. Like, talk about something. And we knew it was missing, and we knew they were missing Zach Hyman. I mean, everybody knew it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was such a stark reminder of what energy and physicality can bring, and something that and I know there have been guys that have tried, Kapanen has tried, but Warrior's hurting in the lineup at times. Podkolzin tries, Savoy's in there. Like, they have guys that get in there and forecheck, but they just haven't had anybody up until Zach Hyman returned that has been able to generate some of that physicality. Now we look at like Trent Frederick and we're like, That's what we want him to do, right? We want him to be like, hey, he played 17 minutes and had 7 hits, right? And it just was all over it. Now, there's nights where that's possible, and that's nights when it's not. As a player that tries to get hits, sometimes they're just not there. Depending on the game, you can look for them. Sometimes they're not. But it's a huge boost for the Oilers that Zach Hyman was able to step in and do this. Like, just from a wearing other teams down, being hard to play against, having a guy that's always there, just finishing their checks in the corner and then around the net too, and finding ways even for the assist where it's just like that's a Zach Hyman type of goal or assist where it's just a greasy, grindy type of play,
simple,
and simple. And I don't expect him to get 11 hits tonight. I don't, and it's not going to be every single game he does that. But guys, super refreshing to have him back in the lineup, and I think now even more so for this game, knowing that he's got some legs and he's going to be bringing it here again tonight. I think that's just a huge benefit to McDavid, their power play, which has already been good, but just 5-on-5 even more so. Guys, I was so happy watching Zach Hyman run around, and I want to see it again tonight. See him apply some pressure. Again, there's some bigger bodies on Buffalo's defense, and some of them move quite well. So having a little bit of physicality and guys in their face to try to slow them down, both Dahlin and Power in particular, they do love jumping into the play. They do love trying to create off the rush. And guys like Hyman, who are going to get a lot of minutes against them, him being physical just will go a long way to impact the game.
Benny, jump in there.
Yeah, so Zach Hyman, to me, with his hits, obviously it was a welcomed addition, right? The problems that I thought the Oilers were having, at least offensively, Zach Hyman embodies those things. There's a lack of physicality. There was a lack of a net front presence in the ozone. There's a lack of forechecking. There's a lack of it seems like enjoyment in the way they play. Right? Like we talked about their celebrations. They look like they were in a shinny. Zach Hyman, I think, embraces all of that. Like he's physical, forecheck, sits net front, and he's always happy when he's playing.
Yep.
It was a welcomed addition against Carolina. The hitting side of Zach Hyman, I don't think we've ever seen before the playoffs last year. I don't think we ever saw Zach Hyman throw around this much hits. Like in the playoffs, I believe he led the playoffs in hits last year despite missing the final. Which shows you how much this guy was throwing on his body. It seems like he's dragged that into his game this year. We'll see how it all leads up to tonight.
Right.
But I think something unlocked there in that playoff run. I think he kind of realized that, you know what, like I could throw my body around a little more. And I think he's taking pride in that. And especially with him being sidelined and watching this start to the season going like, this team needs more physicality. Why can't I be that guy? Right. So throwing around, I mean, he plays a ton. So the hits are probably going to be a little bit higher compared to Trent Frederick, who's going to play, he's lucky to get 12 minutes tonight. Right. Like we'll see how the hit totals kind of stack up and compare. But I think Zach Hyman showing that he can prove that he can be a great addition in multiple different ways for this Oilers club.
Bones texting in.
Can I throw one more thing before you get to Bones' text? Because I just want to piggyback on what Benny said here. I think, him stepping in and bringing that playoff type atmosphere, he's been sitting in the stands watching.
Yeah.
Yes.
He has seen everything that we have seen from how this team, from an energy standpoint, just hasn't been there. From a physicality standpoint, just hasn't been there. And I think he looked at this and he went, I can bring that. And I think he looks at, and not to be negative towards McDavid and Draisaitl, but to basically, he's one of the few guys that, not that he's calling them out with his play, but he's one of the few guys that can be like, hey guys, let's go.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Right. And drag them into it emotionally a little bit. Not that other guys can't do that, but Zach Hyman, just with the quality of play, veteran guy that usually plays with those twos, played a lot in the power play. Like he can pull that out. And I think he recognizes where this team is at. And that's where I think he kind of went right into playoff mentality, where he's like, all right, I can step in and be a difference here. Again, I don't expect the entirety of the rest of the season him to play at that pace. I think we'll see it drop a little bit, but I would assume that for the first couple of games here, he's really just to try to get that switch flipped for the Oilers. He's really going to continue to try to push that. which I didn't expect heading into that last one.
11 hits the other night. The rest of the team, 14.
Yeah. Let's go.
Done. All right, let's get to Bones. Bones wanted to add on the Hyman thing. He said, if the hit isn't there, get in someone's face after the whistle. Create energy. Hyman is fantastic. Thanks for the text, Bones. Appreciate that. All right, let's go to point number 3 of Game Changers with our game analyst, Matt Kassian. Game Changers, as always, brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Top dogs, Cass.
Well, I wanted to use the Zach Hyman just to lead into this because I do think it doesn't take pressure necessarily off McDavid and Draisaitl, but it enables them so much to have a player that plays with that type of commanding presence with them, and in the top 6. Like it changes it, and we've seen with Podkolzin and Roslovic that Draisaitl has the ability to go, but I think having Hyman slide in there for McDavid on the top line, it just kind of it opens up that frequency a little bit more. So we started to talk about it already, but I just really see this as a huge opportunity, particularly for that top 6, which still you don't have Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in the lineup, but that top 6 is looking pretty good heading into this one and looked pretty good last game against a very good Carolina team. So I want to see just that continued energy from that top group. McDavid in particular, where they've started to, and McDavid in particular has started to control the game a little bit more, akin to what we're used to. We hadn't seen that frequently over the start of the season, but we're starting to see it in little bigger bits and pieces now. So I really hope for those top guys that it is just that switch flipped, and I guess we'll see. We will see what type of game we get from that top 6 tonight, guys. But if we, and this is just a supposition, I don't know well, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. I don't know. I think I'm going to go on a limb, so maybe a hot take. I think that if we see a complete game from the Oilers today, and a dominant game in a lot of ways from the Oilers today, I think that Hyman coming into the lineup and then following it up with another good game today could be that switch flip that we've been looking for. Like this could very well be the moment that we see. Now, I think it's going to be on the top guys to get to that level today, but I think it could be that moment we've been waiting for them to be just move from being that average, mediocre, kind of okay team to being a great team for the rest of the year. It's very possible that that's happening today.
So, Cass, you think they're that close to turning it on? Because there was a huge portion of that second period the other night. It was just like, wow, look out! I can't believe Carolina didn't score more.
Yeah, I understand that. We also have to balance that with the fact that Carolina is a really good team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
against really good teams, there will be moments in games that they're going to press, that you're going to be on your heels a little bit. I don't think it's fair to look at the Carolina Hurricanes and say, hey, we expect the Oilers to dominate for 60 full minutes. Like that, Carolina's a good team on the other end. Now, it wasn't a perfect game, but it was a step in the right direction, I think, again, and to start to string some better efforts together. That's where, again, I think today could be the day. And that's why I don't think it was flipped last game. I'm like, it's there. The hand is on the switch. Mm-hmm. I think it's right there. It's hovering. It's ready to press it down. They have to execute today, and then I think it could be off to the races. I could be wrong. I mean, we still could see that inconsistency because it's this Oilers team right now. But I don't know. I just got a positive feeling about it, guys.
780-218-9999. We're going to hear from Joe DiBiase in a couple of minutes. We've got Matt Kassian, our game analyst, with us. Before we get to Joe, Cass, and to wrap up Game Changers, we haven't talked to you in a little bit. Trent Frederick, team low, just over 7 minutes the other night. What's going on there? How do you look at his situation right now?
I was hoping, he got in that fight, lost the fight, but was still a big moment for the team, I thought, in that Columbus game. And then, follows it up, takes that one late penalty, which I know people didn't like the late penalty, but I'm like, hey, at least he's around the net. Maybe this is the start of it. And it's just, he just can't find any kind of consistency. Like it feels like, I don't know. It just feels like he's trying to be I don't think maybe that's not even the right way of saying it. Like, it feels like he's trying to play a skill game, but he's not really. Like, when I watch him, I'm like, he's not trying to play a skill game. He's just not executing a physical, hard to play against type of game. Like, it's, that contract every day right now looks worse and worse and worse. Not to say that it always will be. And certainly we've heard from people that talk about some of the positives when he is playing well, but guys, we just haven't seen it through playoffs and this, like, any kind of consistency. Like, he's a guy you need to be physical and engaged, and he just still hasn't been there yet. So it's not a good look for him. Not a positive for him. I mean, he's fine. He's got a long-term deal, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe you gave him the long-term deal and he's just like,
I hope that's
try to
not
stay
the
healthy.
case.
I hope so. I hope not. I hope not. I hope not. I hope not. I hope mentally it's not just like, well, I got my deal. I'm good. I'm going to go play, and I'm going to play hard, but like, not selling out game in and game out. Right. I don't know. I hope that's not it. But hard to say.
Yeah. His contract has come up a lot so far this season.
Yeah.
People were really excited when they traded for him. They were clamoring, get more toughness, get a guy like Trent Frederick. They went and got him, and it hasn't been there yet. I know he was nicked up last year too. Cass, one more thing on him. A couple of times it popped up recently, and this is why I'm asking it. There's a few people who had texted in and said, I'm going to give Trent Frederick a pass because I think his high ankle sprain is still bothering him. That I'm paraphrasing what some texts had said last week. I'm not of the mind that that's the case. I could be wrong. I figure he's had enough time to heal up. You've dealt with a high ankle sprain? Or was it, I know Belsey had one. Did you have one too?
I have too. Yep.
And do you think that's legit? How do you look at it? Has he had enough time to heal? I don't know.
Yes. He's had enough time to heal.
Okay.
Like, it can take, high ankle sprains can be tough. It could take 8 weeks. It's sometimes better to break your ankle as opposed to have a high ankle sprain. Most people would say, or most doctors and physios would say, but it's 8 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks. It has been much beyond that.
Yes.
Like, there's no, at this point, unless there's something where it's like, hey, they probably should have surgically repaired it. But we haven't heard any of that.
No.
So I don't think you can pin it on that.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens with Trent Frederick tonight. See if he plays a more engaged game and if he gets a little more ice time than the 7+ minutes he got the other night. Cass flexing at home. Hyman's hits, top dogs. That is Game Changers tonight. Great stuff as always, my friend. We'll catch up with you on the post-game show.
Sounds good, guys.
There you go. There's our game analyst, Matt Kassian, with Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. You can text us 780-218-9999. Jump into the chat if you're feeling like getting nasty over on YouTube. We appreciate that as well. And we're going to hear from Joe DiBiase, who's ready to go. WGR 550 in Buffalo. We used to co-host Locked On NHL together. Joe's one of the best, and he's right on top of stuff. Joe, what's going on with the Bills? Let's start with the most important thing. What the hell's wrong with the Bills? Are they okay? Are they going to be a contender here? What's going on?
Thank you for starting with the positive subject matter. I love that off the top here. Yeah, yesterday was like the most fun game they've had since at least week 1. So we were wondering, like, hey, get it together. I don't know if they're a contender. They did not look good on offense for like a month, but yesterday can really quickly reassert yourself as that type of team. And with the Chiefs at 5 losses and the Ravens at 5 losses, suddenly the Bills are the favorites again. So I don't know if they'll win the division, but, road game at New England or Denver or Indy, I feel like you could have some confidence that the Bills would win that even if they're on the road.
Interesting. Joe DiBiase with us from WGR 550. Did you catch any of the Grey Cup, by the way? I know you love the CFL. It's too
I'm
bad.
a huge CFL. Now they're changing all the rules. I can't keep up now. Although they're more Americanized now, right?
A little bit. So it's gonna take effect next year. The Rouge will change, which is good. And then there'll still be 12 players. Still have the waggle, which is unlimited motion in the backfield. The wide field will still exist. They're taking out the 55, so the field's going to be shorter. It'll be a standard 100-yard field, and then they're cutting down the end zones by 5 yards. So they'll be 15 yards deep instead of 20. I think the 20 is super deep. And then what else? The play clock is going to be a 35-second play clock instead of a 20. And they actually timed it, Joe, where the 20-second play clock, because it has to be whistled in, is a lot closer to the 40-second play clock that the NFL has been using. So it's interesting. We'll see how it
feels like. That's what they're trying to make it look more like the NFL, maybe a little bit. Which I don't think you need to. You're in terms of comparing it to the NFL. You're unique. It's fun. It's fast. Just leave it the way it is. That's what I would have done. The
goalpost moved to the back of the end zones as well.
Gotcha.
That's a safety.
I was gonna say that's player safety, right? Guys how often does that happen though? How often are guys just crashing into it? Like, is it once a game?
Actually, they do. Guys do a good job of avoiding it. It does happen. It does become a bit of it, and it will pop up a few times during a season where a quarterback will inadvertently hit the uprights with a pass, and it's just automatic dead ball. So I think it makes sense. And the NFL had end zones in the front until like the late 60s, and they finally
60s or 70s, maybe right around when the merger and all they kind of brought the AFL in. I think, I would bet 70s. I don't think they ever played a Super Bowl with the end zones at the front.
Right. And then first Super Bowl was what, 69?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, I think it's a good thing. It opens up the whole entirety of the end zone. They had a breakdown of all the plays and everything's off to the sides, right? You got to duck around the goalposts. So it'll open up the end zones, and it's kind of a crazy concept to think about. But we'll see. I don't mind it. I welcome the changes. I'm thrown off by getting rid of the 55. I kind of liked it. It was a very Canadian quirk. But the 12 players, 3 downs, wide field, that's not going anywhere. So people shouldn't freak out as much about that. All right. Sabres and Oilers, Joe. What the hell's going on with the Buffalo Sabres? I know I asked what the hell's going on with the Bills, but they're at the bottom of the standings. Nobody's really surprised, even though they have good, talented players and a competent coach in Lindy Ruff. Has the shine worn off on Lindy Ruff's second go-around in Buffalo? How much do Sabres fans hate Kevin Adams? Where are we at right now with these Sabres?
It's every year's a little unique. They're always in the bottom, but every year's a little unique. I went through the other day, actually, like, how far back were they at this point in the month every single year of their playoff drought? So of all those seasons, like, they're always between like 4 and 6 points out of a playoff spot by this point. I think they've been in a spot maybe one time in the 14 years, a month into the season. So anger is what we're used to at this point in the year. Like, fire somebody, make a trade, save the season. This year is almost extra frustrating and uniquely frustrating in that it's tougher to do that because everybody is either injured or you have these freak occurrences where in the first month of the year, your best player and captain, Rasmus Dahlin, leaves for Europe because his fiance heart stopped in the summer when they were on vacation. She had a heart transplant. Very serious matter there. You obviously understand him taking care of his family business and going over to Europe for a couple of weeks, but we didn't even know how long that was going to be. When he left, is this going to be a month? Is this going to be 3 months? It only ended up being a couple of weeks. And then Jason Zucker's got a viral infection or a virus that he couldn't kick for weeks. He lost 10 pounds and couldn't eat solid food for 2 weeks. And he's just now getting back on the ice, but he's got to build up strength before he can get back in. Yuri Kulik has blood clot issues. Josh Norris gets injured leaning over while taking a face-off. That one might be the least surprising of the bunch.
But like, it's just all the time.
I know. It's crazy. That was game 1, too, that happened. It's like, how mad can you really be? But at least more mad than you already were at the GM sticking around, and that's its own subject matter. How mad can you be when all of these freak accidents are happening and you're pulling guys in from your AHL squad to play on your second, third, and fourth lines, and it's like Tage Thompson's kind of on an island and there's just not a lot around him? I mean, it's this weird feeling of you want to be mad, but you almost feel like they deserve some sort of pass.
Jeez. It shouldn't be this way, Joe. You and I have been talking about it for like 5 years.
I know. We're waiting for them to get lucky in one of these years. I don't even need them to be I don't need them to be good. At this point, when you're into a playoff drought like this, you don't even need them to be really actually good. Just get a lucky goalie season and a lucky power play season.
Right.
And tell me all year how your expected goals are actually terrible, but you're in the 7th spot in the Eastern Conference. It just never happens that way. It happens this way, where, all right, maybe we have a team that we could be interested in this year. No, everybody's out a month in. Although they're just starting to come back. Like Dahlin's back and Zucker's practicing, so maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Hey, this Kevin Adams thing, I mean, I feel like this team has been mismanaged. That's me from all the way in Edmonton, kind of just looking over and then listening to you and kind of reading some of the stuff from everybody who covers the team. It's just like this. Why is he in place? And then you kind of dig a little deeper. You find out the connection to the Pegulas. Listen, it's kind of a weird dichotomy. You look at the Pegulas and it's like, well, the Bills are working. What the hell? What's happening with the Sabres? Are they considered good owners? How are they perceived in Buffalo? I mean, how do you look at this situation?
They're actually not perceived as well as you might think. I mean, because the Bills have had all of this success, but it really is almost starting to be viewed. I think a lot of fans, not everybody, views it as they got lucky with the Bills, that they found Sean McDermott, and that's why they'll never move off of Sean McDermott or Brandon Beane, even if they continue to lose playoff games to the Chiefs, because they're so afraid of what's happened with the Sabres to happen to the football team. It's almost like the hockey team's failure is in a way influencing the lack of change on the football end if you were ever to get there. I mean, you was Kansas City for a 5th time. It's like there's not a lot of belief they would ever do anything, and it's because I think they've just never got it right on the hockey side, that they know they have something that works on the football side and they just don't really want to touch it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you would think, why aren't you desperate to get it right on the hockey end? How is it that Kevin Adams at the moment has been a GM in one place for the 4th most games in NHL history without being fired or making the playoffs? We're at 402 games that he's been the GM. There's almost nobody in league history that has gotten that long of a time to figure it out. And you're right, like as you mentioned, it is part of it is a relationship with ownership that goes back to when he was an assistant coach on this team 15 years ago.
Yeah.
You have to believe that at some point that relationship cannot carry him through another year, 2 years, that it has to end at some point. And we've seen little signs that maybe that's the case. Adams last year at his end of season press conference did not sound like he thought he was going to be back. And he had to give a sales pitch basically to Terry Pegula, what his blueprint was going to be for the next season to basically keep his job. So it sounds like they were thinking about it at the end of last year. And that's the most optimism you could have if you want a different GM, is the fact that they were even thinking about it last year. Right. If this year continues the way it's going, then you already were last summer. I can't imagine why you wouldn't act on it, at some point during this season.
Joe DiBiase with us from WGR 550 in Buffalo, getting you set for the Oilers and the Sabres. One more on the Pegulas. Is Kim Pegula still running things on the Buffalo side, on the Sabres side of things? Because I know she was involved and was just changing stuff. And do you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, she had a health emergency a couple of years ago, and she's not really running things anymore for health reasons. And I don't imagine that maybe ever happens again, or will at least happen anytime soon. So no, it's mostly Terry at this point. And I think his daughters are starting to, get a little bit more involved here and there. And we might be on the horizon of that happening a little bit more and more. All the kids other than Jessie, because she's still got the tennis career going. Right. So, but otherwise, no, it's mostly, this is Terry's show, and he's got his couple of people around him. He's a Kevin Adams guy. And, the other guy, Pete Gwelly, is the new face. He's a Rochester guy, kind of local, from back in the day, worked with the Bills in the early 2000s a lot. Okay. And he went off, worked with Michael Jordan, was running the Charlotte Hornets for a long time. He is now in place. So maybe if he's got a different view of things going forward on the hockey end or the business department, like he would be, I think, the spark for any change if we get anything.
Okay, so we'll have to keep an eye on that when it comes to the Sabres. Again, that market deserves so much better with its hockey team. Great hockey market, fun city to go visit, and we'll see if it can be turned around there. But tonight, Joe, a lot of people going, who the hell is Colton Ellis? Mm-hmm. I think I'll pass that question to you. The guys played 3 NHL games. People here get very concerned with, like, a new player, especially a goalie, coming in, stealing the show against the Oilers. It has happened in the past. Lucas Dostal kind of did it against Edmonton a few years ago with the Ducks. Whenever there's a milestone or a streak that needs to be stabbed, the Oilers are the recipe for opposition players. So tell us about Ellis.
Ellis, so far, I think they like him a lot. And you know that because they've been carrying 3 goaltenders all season long because he was available to them on waivers from the St. Louis Blues. I think the story basically is that this guy was a pretty darn good prospect in the St. Louis Blues organization, and he's now 25 years old. He had to go through waivers. He's been very good in the AHL for multiple seasons. Why hasn't he appeared in the NHL until this year? I mean, biggest reason I think is the Blues have never really had an opening. Right. It's been Joel Hofer and Jordan Binnington holding down the fort. You've had 2 pretty solid NHL goaltenders that have actually stayed really healthy, by the way, too. So Ellis never really had a look to get in there. Mm-hmm. So it was time. 25 years old. You've had multiple good years in the AHL. You were a 3rd-round pick. It's not like you were a guy off the street. Like, there's some talent level there that would have got him drafted as one of the top goalies that year in 2019. So it was time for him to get a look. And the Sabres were like, we do have 2 guys already, but Luukkonen was injured at the beginning of the year, and it's not so solid anyway. So it's, all right, we'll give you a look. We'll give you a shot. And game 1, early in the year against Detroit, went really, really, really well. But then Luukkonen came back. Mm-hmm. And I think they've been playing this dance of they want to keep Ellis, but they also want to give Luukkonen and Alex Lyon, who were their plan, the shot at taking the job. And Lyon started strong, that tapered off. Luukkonen has been totally up and down, which has been his thing for years. So Ellis was just around, just practicing, not playing games. And finally it's, okay, the other 2 guys aren't playing that strong for us. Here's your shot. And this will be his 3rd start in his last 4 games. It's funny that actually the first 2 didn't even go that well in the last week. But they're giving him a real long look here. It's possible within a week, if this doesn't go well tonight, maybe he gets another start that doesn't go well, that he would be waived. But this is their chance. Like, this is, you're getting a look, and if it goes well for you, we'll make a corresponding move. And if it doesn't, it's possible they waive him and St. Louis picks him back up.
Where has this left Devin Levi? Because he got called out by his coach last week, didn't he? Like, and Oilers fans
in the AHL.
Yeah, they want a goalie here. Steve Skinner hasn't really been everybody's favorite around town, and Calvin Pickard's had a tougher start to this season compared to how well he played last year. People are texting into our shows saying, go get Devin Levi, and you see his coach just shredding him. What's going on there?
I wonder if he could be had, really, because I think all of it kind of stinks right now. The vibes are basically that this guy, when he came out of college, I don't want to say he held the Sabres hostage, but he kind of held the Sabres hostage, where they were in a playoff race. They needed a goaltender. This is 2 years ago now, very badly. The Sabres missed that year by 1 point.
Yep.
But the Levi was setting records, like best save percentage, most wins in college hockey ever. He had been really strong for Canada at the World Juniors. Like, It was clear this kid is coming. And do you want to? They also traded Sam Reinhart in part to get him. So you had that investment. And it was, do you want to let him walk and go somewhere else? Because it sounded like he was giving them that indication. Like, if you go out and trade for a starting caliber goalie to try and make the playoffs, I'm not so convinced I'm going to sign with you. So what the Sabres did, they didn't sign anybody. And then they missed the playoffs. He gets every opportunity over the last 2 years to be the starting goalie. He was their starting goalie to begin both 2 years ago and then this past season, last year. And it didn't go well either time. So now he's in Rochester. I think they finally just said, we're not going to leave you a spot every single year like this.
Right.
You got to go do it and prove it in the AHL. And for the most part, he has. This year, though, he has not. And I think they're at a point now where he wants to be in the NHL. He doesn't want to be in the AHL. They don't feel like he's earned the right to be in the NHL. They just added Ellis, who's this young goalie. So I kind of feel like he could be had by somebody that would want to take a flyer on a guy that was one of the best goalie prospects in the league, not only, a year ago, 2 years ago, he was thought of as that.
Well, people were pumping up his tires. Yeah, what an interesting twist in his career. We'll see where it all goes, but good update there. Hey, you're wearing a Blue Jays hat?
I am.
You Jays guy?
I am a Jays guy. I'm kind of a fair weather Jays guy. I will self-admit that. Like, I'm definitely only really plugged in when they're good. But obviously, so that means I was very, very plugged in this year. I think legitimately, Tom, Game 1 of the World Series, which I went to, was the greatest sporting event I've ever attended in my life.
That's cool.
I had never been to a playoff baseball game, and I mean, it would have been so much cooler to look back on it had they won in Game 7 or in Game 6, but I will never forget how electric that building was in Game 1 when they won in the sixth inning. It felt like it lasted 3 hours, and it was just a giant party the whole time. Yeah,
I love that. Good vibes in Toronto for sure for the World Series. Good playoff run, and you guys have the Bisons there. That is the AAA affiliate.
That too. Yeah, but Vlad Guerrero was here for 2 years. 2 years for the Bisons, and then there's a connection here. I think the Blue Jays are starting to take over a little bit. There's a lot of Yankee fans here, but when COVID happened and they shut down the border, the Blue Jays needed a place to play. They played here that season. So a whole year of the Blue Jays playing in Buffalo, Guerrero already had the connection, and then he was great when he played here. It's very easy, I think, to be a Jays fan if you live in Buffalo.
And they spruced up that the ballpark too, didn't they, to get the Jays in there for that season? Yeah,
they needed to. The lights had to be improved. They had to make the park further just to get it to MLB standards. They built a new ballpark. Yeah, they really tricked out the stadium, and now the Bisons I think Bisons have probably the best facilities in minor league baseball, just because the Blue Jays just left everything behind.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. I went to a couple Bisons games when we were in Buffalo for the draft. It was really good. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
It's a cool ballpark. It's right downtown. The One Seneca Tower is right there. There's a bunch of bars right nearby. Yeah. It's a good spot.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Joe, thank you for doing this today. Always appreciate talking to you, man. Thanks for the update. Enjoy the game. Go Bills, baby.
Yeah. Thanks, Tom. See you.
Hey, Joe DiBiase, WGR 550 in Buffalo. Awesome. He's one of the best, and great resource. It's just great to shoot the breeze with about any sport, really. So big thanks to Joe. And there you go. So people wondering about Devin Levi last week.
That's
legit. He's getting called out, Benny.
That's the guy that's the savior. Like, really? Like, I understand he was very highly sought after 2 years ago.
Yeah.
He had some great numbers in college, and I remember that whole debacle where it was like, is he going to sign with Buffalo? And if he does, he's this big prospect. Could he get this team over the edge, get in the playoffs? And I'm pretty sure he actually looked pretty good when he first came to the NHL. But yeah, goalies are weird, man. Like, they could be really good one year and then really bad the next year. It's tough with them. And I mean, he's getting called out by his coach in the AHL. Like, it just
what do you say? We need a save.
We need a save.
Ouch.
That's what I see in the nasty chat all the time after Oilers games. To me, it's it's that's the guy. To me, it just doesn't make any sense to me. There's a lot of baggage with what's going on with him right now, and I'm not so convinced that that's the savior and that's what's going to change this Oilers goaltending is Devin Levi. I guess if it's a cheap, acquisition
potential solution, kind of thing,
you know what? Sure, if they take a flyer on him, if they trade him, I don't know, a 5th round pick or something, and just take a shot. I guess you can never really crap on that necessarily. But I just, if that were to be the case, don't get your hopes up. Is what I would say. Just let's I would let that play out. I would rather go target a guy like Cam Talbot, for example, if he's on the market.
That's crazy. I love Talbot.
Great guy, I think it'd be a great reunion. But yeah, we'll cross that bridge when it needs to get there.
Bones texting and said Joe DiBiase is the coolest name. Yeah,
sweet.
And he goes by Sneaky Joe Sports on Twitter if you want to follow him. Like I said, he's awesome, and lots of NFL stuff as well as hockey. He does the Bills pre and post game on WGR 550, and then he does Locked On NHL. Damo Dude says, I didn't like the Frederick contract from the start, but I've been waiting for him to prove me wrong all season, and he really hasn't. Yeah,
I was the same
Bang
way.
on.
The same way. Yep. I thought 8 years for a guy that hasn't shown you that. That's my biggest thing. You traded for him the deadline. He has that high ankle sprain injury. I understand that, but he didn't prove it to you during that playoff run that he was a player. He struggled in the playoffs. There was a couple moments he had, but for the most part, he didn't really prove it to you that he was a guy that was had a lot of value.
That's completely valid. Fair.
So then when you go in the offseason, you're openly willing to pay that guy $4 million for 8 years to a guy that hasn't proven it to you that he's a player that could play in your system.
Mm-hmm.
I questioned that contract the day I was signed too. And as of right now, it's not looking great, but there's 7 more years left for him to prove his worth on that deal.
Lots of time, Ben.
Lots of time. Lots of time.
All right, let's get to your game day odds check brought to you by Play Alberta. Play in Alberta because it stays in Alberta safe and secure. The revenue generated from Play Alberta is redirected to Alberta's General Revenue Fund, which is used to support programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. Hit promo code EST Sports. That'll be a $50 deposit. Gets you a $50 free bet. And then EST Casino, $50 deposit. On the casino side, gets you a $50 casino bonus. Your money line tonight, the Oilers minus 154, Sabres 131 plus 131. And then the over-under set at 6.5, the over at minus 109, the under at minus 122. That is your game day odds check brought to you by Play Alberta, of course, presenting sponsor of Edmonton Sports Talk. Benny, we have a couple minutes left. What are you thinking going into tonight?
Take care of business.
TCB?
Take care of business against a team that is at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. Has a lot of injuries right now, like Joe was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Just you're playing against an inexperienced NHL goalie. Take advantage of a night where you should win. Should win. This team has, in my opinion, has slowly progressed after that Colorado game.
Mm-hmm.
That was and it was bad, but they've won 3 or 4 since, and it hasn't been smooth. But this is a night where you can, like Cass was saying when he was on earlier, where you can add on to this little bit of fire you have. Zach Hyman's, getting brought back. If he, is 2-0 in his time as an Oiler this year, things could be looking better after a win tonight. So we'll see. I would like to see a high scoring event for the Oilers.
Me too.
Light up a young goalie tonight. Let's see. But once again, it's the Oilers. You never really know. Could we be talking about the Oilers blowing it and losing to a very bad team in the Sabres tonight? Absolutely, we could be talking about that. But let's. I'll be optimistic. Let's hope that they take care of business tonight.
All right, we'll see if they can get that done. Let's go into the inbox to wrap things up. Poop Stains, what a handle.
Love it.
Says McLeod is the real winner when he asked when he was talking about the question of the night, Benny, when you said it, who won that trade, Savoy or McLeod, which team? Poop Stain says McLeod's a real winner because he signed a $5 million per year contract. Yeah, he did get a sweet deal.
It was a good fit for him in Buffalo. Like it was like he close to home, gets the ice time he probably wanted, and playoffs don't have to worry. The Sabres don't have to worry about the playoffs, so McLeod doesn't have to show his lack of physicality when it means the most.
Very nice of you to explain it that way.
I thought it was a thoughtful way of putting it, but
it was.
but yeah, it was a good fit for him there in Buffalo.
All right, we'll go to this text. Says when Nugent Hopkins and Kapanen are back, I really like the forward group. The question marks will continue to be on goaltending and defense, and since I don't see them making a big goalie move in season, I wonder if the Oilers try and upgrade the back end. I think they should. Regula's going to take time.
Yep,
he's very, very young in his NHL career, and there's going to be mistakes. He's going to have some tough nights. We're going to see some rough patches for sure. So yeah, I think go out and try to find another defenseman, somebody who would be an upgrade on a Troy Stetcher who they lost to waivers.
That's the only spot you're gonna be able to upgrade on that D-core. Like you're not moving off any of the other 5 defensemen you have, right? So I don't think you are. Yeah.
No. All right, that's going to do it for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Coming up next, the final hour of the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. Ice Cube sliding back in here. Big thank you to Joe DiBiase from WGR 550 in Buffalo, giving us the scoop on those Sabres. And then big thank you to everybody who listened and watched. We appreciate you guys very, very much. For Cass and Benny, I'm Tommy, saying enjoy the final hour of the show. And if you're watching the game, we'll see you right after. Oilers and Sabres coming up next.